And with the ongoing conflict, there are a lot of questions that we're continuing to ask tonight, from how is this impacting our service members deployed from San Diego to what comes next.
And retired Special Operations Air Force Commander Major Glenn Ignazio joins us around the table to break it all down for us, and we really appreciate you for being here, Commander. Can you give us just a little picture, a 1,000-foot view of where we stand in this conflict so far? What is your take on military operations to this point?
In all honesty, the military operations are going very well, and actually at a significant accelerated rate. We have to be realistic of the way the situation is. We are in a combat. This is a much more, I would say, educated and established adversary than what we've seen in the past, but I think the lessons of the past have been pushed and they're applying it here. So the operations are rather effective. Having air supremacy is one thing, but air dominance, where now we have aircraft sitting overhead, staged to be able to take a target out where before we had to pre-plan it. So again, with all the forces, it's been executed pretty well within Iran. Defenses, something always gets through, but they're still doing the best that they can.
And the president said today this operation could last for several weeks potentially. What would that look like?
So the first question is people go, how big is Iran? Iran is about 650,000 square miles. It's about a sixth of the United States. So the biggest thing is because of what they've buried, what they've used, you want to make sure that they're really taking out their military capability, their weapons capability for, say, nuclear, and again, because of the threat to everybody else, their rocket capability. So prosecuting the entire country, the areas that we know built up, but taking a look at, we used to call them kill boxes, but looking at each boxes of territory to make sure that nothing else is there. That is going to take time to prosecute it. At the same time, framing what's going to happen with the regime change. That covers both military protection and at the same way, intelligence operations to see how that will unfold when we see a change.
Now, they've taken out essentially the command and control structure of the Ayatollah and most of the underlings, the lieutenants and the generals that they were working with. Who is the U.S. speaking with, if anyone, at this point? How do they start to negotiate some sort of step back, or in your view, do you think we're going to have to be boots on the ground at one point here?
Hope not boots on the ground. I don't foresee that we have to do that, but again, speculating a little bit, but at the same time, I hope we don't have to do boots on the ground. It can be staged pretty well as far as who could get in there. So right now, in the past, the Shah's son is a very well established. He's liked, he is open and worked with the Israelis and the Arab world very well. So he looks like he's one of the prominent ones. The biggest thing is that we do that. We also organize and galvanize the protesters to make sure that it is focused on getting somebody in that is going to be the best for the freedom of Iran. Right now, it's him that's most prominent. What we don't want to do, and we talked about it, is we don't want IRGC taking over. They're iron-fisted and the protesters will be damaged. At the same time, is if we can get a civilian like, say, Reza in, that's utopia. Worst is if there's no development whatsoever. This is the lessons learned from Iraq, where we dissolved the military and the police. We're not going to do that. And at that point, you have sectarian violence and an absolute nightmare in the Middle East.
If it's just the void of any sort of command structure, and all of a sudden you've got something like ISIS, you got ISIL, you got all sorts of folks.
Just even within Iran itself, there's so many, like I said, sectarian violence with maybe not even engaging with them, but just the different organizations that will bid for power that have always been hiding. You'll have the IRGC, you'll have a bunch of other organizations. So just within Iran, it could be completely conflicting, but you would never ignore a potential or a threat from ISIS or what have you, you know? Yeah.
Sometimes it seems like we feel so far removed from things like this, and then now it's impacting our service members from here in San Diego, and people that we know and love are out, fighting on the USS Abraham Lincoln. What's your advice to people, who maybe don't have a connection to this? How should they be processing all of this information?
No, honestly, that's a great question. We look at it as, a lot of the naval forces, especially when around here, they are protected very well, but let's not be complacent, right? Unfortunately, again, every adversary gets a vote, and not all equipment and defense systems are 100%. So yes, we've seen some attacks, we've seen some losses in those particular areas, again, in the initial stages. So I think we're moving to much more defense. The thing that I think I would say to most Americans is that we're complacent to the idea of how successful, say, Venezuela or Abbottabad and all these missions were. This is warfare, it's significant. The potential of losing individuals, horrible as it may be, hope it doesn't happen, but it is possible. So let's not be complacent to the real world activities and don't think this is a video game that everything's going to be perfect. We have to be prepared for that, otherwise we're in trouble.
And then just the blowback from this. Have we kicked a hornet's nest? Are we looking at potential terrorist attacks inside the United States, terrorist attacks inside of Israel after the fighting's done? Is this just a a really major shift in the way we need to think of our security back at home?
Another great question. The potential will always be there, but as we see Iran before as a very formidable force of training, funding, organizing these terrorist threats and organizations, Houthis, Hezbollah, and so forth, we're seeing that dissolve, I wouldn't say dissolve, but diffuse greatly. But these terrorist factions that still exist around the world, you might have a lone wolf. We're seeing people pop up with extreme ideology, even here in the United States. And like it or not, and when you look at it from the National Counterterrorism Center, there are a lot of people and a lot of terrorists that got in over the open borders, like it or not political, but there are in the country. We have to watch that and never, ever again be complacent to it, but not paranoid. So that's where I see it, Iran again dissolving from that, but we should always be, again, rather open and observing to what's going on.
Yeah. Major Ignazio, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your expertise and your knowledge and sharing it with all of our viewers today.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Major, thank you so much.